Welcome in as we continue our series of interviews with electees to the Baylor Athletics Hall of Fame. The induction banquet comes up in November. We look forward to that, November 14th. Baseball will be represented, and I think represented really, really well by Chris Durbin, headed into the Baylor Athletics Hall of Fame. And Chris joins us now. First off, congratulations to you. What does this honor mean to you?
Thanks so much, John. I appreciate that. I mean, this honor, it's really a humbling experience, first off, to be recognized by Baylor and being inducted to the Hall of Fame. It's something I wasn't expecting this year for sure. But I'm just really excited to come down and see Coach Thompson again and get to reunite with all the guys once again. So I'm just thrilled.
Very cool. Well, it's great. You're very deserving. I'm always interested, who called you to let you know, and what was that like when you got the call that you're going into the Hall of Fame?
Well, man, it was very exciting. Mitch actually called me. I was on my way to the store, and I was like, "Why is Coach Thompson calling me for?" And he broke the news to me, and I couldn't have been more excited. Just real happy for it.
That's great. Well, you had such a great career here at Baylor. Again, very deserving. 345 career hitter here at Baylor. And you still hold school records for career doubles, extra base hits, second all times in runs and total bases, top 10 career hits, home runs, and RBIs and slugging percentage. I mean, you left your mark when you were here.
I did, man. But I think the biggest thing was our team. And, I mean, I could only do so much as just one guy, but man, my senior year, we had an amazing team, and that was probably the funnest year I ever had. And with Murph, Josh Ford, and Griffin, and Paul Witt, all those guys, I mean, they went on the next year, and 2005 went to the World Series, and I was just one guy that year, and I just went out there and tried to help the team win every day.
Those names you mentioned, I mean, gosh, those were great teams you were on. You had some great teammates, didn't you?
I did, for sure. Going all the way back to my freshman year, we won the Big 12 all 4 years, and my last year was the most exciting for sure, especially ending the season at LSU. That was probably one of the biggest highlights for me, and we went out with a bang. We just couldn't pull it through to get to the World Series that year, but it was just a great experience all the way around.
Let's go back to your freshman year. Actually, before your freshman year, the recruiting process. What do you remember about that? How did you end up at Baylor?
I think the biggest thing that year, I was a senior. I didn't have any big offers I think the only Division I school I'd gotten any letters from was TCU at the time, and I'd signed with Grayson Community College. Tim Tadlock was a coach then, and now I think he's at Texas Tech.
Right.
But the way I got an offer to go to Baylor is I think Coach Smith and Coach Thompson were on a recruiting trip to see Zane Carlson pitch, and he's going to Highland Park. I went to Wiley, and I just had a great game that day, and it kind of opened the coach's eyes, I think, a little bit, and that's how I was originally seen by Baylor. And I remember one thing about that year is I'd already committed to Baylor, but I hadn't signed yet, and Coach Thompson was waiting to get the papers back, and I'd already told him they're in the mail, but I hadn't sent them yet. And that weekend, we went down to Austin, and UT saw me play, and I had a great series that weekend. And they convinced me to come down to Texas on a recruiting trip, and I kind of ruffled some feathers with Coach Thompson a little bit, and gave me 24 hours to make my decision, and I ultimately went ahead and followed through with it and signed with Baylor, and it was probably the best decision I made for sure. And that year we won the Big 12, and then my sophomore year UT ended up winning the World Series. So it was one of those things but I wouldn't change it for the world. UT was probably one of our biggest competitors that year and biggest rivalries, in my opinion.
That's a great story. You did make the right decision. You ended up at Baylor. You absolutely made the right decision. You
I
come
totally
in,
agree with you.
you come in, and that 2000 year was so amazing. Win the Big 12. You must think, oh yeah, this is great. To come in and win the league in your first year. What do you remember about that first season?
I honestly didn't know how big it was because I was just a young teenager. I was like, oh, Big 12. It's just kind of like winning district, right? It's kind of like I remember those words coming out of my mouth to one of my teammates, and you're like, you idiot, we just won the conference. I was like, I know, I'm excited, but I was just young and dumb. But I didn't realize what a big deal it was, and I was just happy to help out my freshman year because as a freshman coming in, you really don't expect to get a lot of playing time. And in the fall, I knew that I had a chance to play, and I ended up starting the first year. The first game of my freshman year, which was huge. And then me and Steve Dorniman, we platooned quite a bit because I was a right-handed hitter, he was a lefty, and that's how I got the majority of my playing time to start the season. But as the season went on, I got to play quite a bit more as a freshman, so that was huge for me.
Man, that's huge. Come in and prove yourself so quickly and then get that much playing time. Not just get playing time, but on a really good team. I mean, a team that won the league. So, man, that says a lot about your ability to adapt and be ready to go as a freshman.
100%. And I think the biggest thing for freshman year was our pitching. That's what really helped us out a lot that year. I know we had Chad Hawkins and Kyle Evans, and those were our two top starters that year, and really helped us out to win that.
Good. That's great. And then you go on, again, great success your entire career. You were just part of good teams the entire time you were here. And I would say, I mean, that gives credit to your teammates, but it gives credit to you also, that you helped make everybody better. And those teams were really, really, I would say, close-knit and played well together.
We were very close-knit. And I think one of the biggest things I would always remember and would always get me pumped up is when we all come together before the games, break out and run out as a team. And when I think back on it, that's one of the things that I remember a lot is the unity and the great guys we had, and more like a brotherhood than anything. And I built a lot of really good relationships and friendships those 4 years.
Hard to believe it's been 25 years since your freshman year.
I know. Time really flies, man. I can't believe I just turned 44.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, it's just like yesterday, how quickly life goes by and how quick time passes. I've got 3 boys of my own, and my oldest is he just turned 20, and
oh wow,
it seems like yesterday that he was born. And my youngest son's 14, and I've got a 17-year-old as well. So it's definitely a challenge with 3 boys for sure.
It doesn't sound possible that you've got a 20-year-old, but I guess time does march on. That's for sure. Yeah, that is 100%. Great. That is great. You mentioned the 03 regional at LSU. Gosh, what an atmosphere that was. And you guys really played LSU toe-to-toe, didn't you?
We did. Those first 2 games were close ones. I think we lost the first game by 1 run. Second game, we ended up winning. Or maybe it's flip-flopped. But then the third game, I think we just ran out of pitching a little bit, and then, we just couldn't pull it through. And that's one of those heartbreaking seasons because I know we had what it took to get there, but things just didn't work out for us that season. LSU was probably the one of the fun places to play, playing in front of it had to be between 6,000 to 8,000 people there that day. Yeah. And one of those exciting atmosphere, almost kind of like playing in the big leagues. I had the opportunity to play 3 exhibition games when I played with Boston. I didn't make it to the bigs, but I played 3 exhibition games against the Phillies, and playing in that type of atmosphere is something I've never experienced before. Other than that, and it was the most exciting time.
Yeah, that was at the old Alex Box Stadium in Baton Rouge, and you guys definitely threw a scare into those LSU fans. I mean, I think they knew that they had a fight on their hands playing Baylor.
They definitely did, and we always put up a fight. I was thinking back the other day to some of the games that we played, and the most memorable ones. One of them that came to mind was when we played Rice. We were down 9-0, and we ended up coming back and winning 11-10 in extra innings. I remember sitting out in the outfield with David Murphy, and I was like, "Man, we're going to win this game. You watch. I'm going to come up next inning, lead it off, and you're going to follow it up." And that's exactly what we did. You know, it's one of those things that just goes to show you never give up, always keep fighting, and we ended up winning. So
one of the great comebacks in Baylor history, and throw in like a 3 or 4 hour rain delay in there also, right?
Yeah, we did have a rain delay that day for sure.
Yeah.
I think Jeff was one of the #1 draft picks that year, and he was shutting us down, and we got into the bullpen and came back and won.
That was tremendous. Zane was a big part of that, wasn't he? That win.
He was 100%. He was, and Zane was always clutch.
Very good. Well, so you mentioned pro baseball, 10th round draft pick, I think, of the Red Sox. What was that experience like for you? And how did you know when you got to the end of the road when you finally decided to hang them up?
I think the thing for me was I felt like I was in an organization that had a lot of depth in regards to outfielders. I got to the point where I was married at the time and we had our first son. So that was really difficult for me to be away from a family. And I kind of came to a crossroads to make the decision whether or not to retire or continue playing and being away from my family. And it was a hard decision for me because I knew I'd be letting down my family and friends that were really pushing for me to go all the way and keep playing because I still had the talent to play. I just life circumstances changed and
Sure.
I wasn't having fun anymore. And for myself, I'd always told myself if I get to that point to where I just dread going to the field every day, then it's just time to walk away. And at the time, my walk with God was very good, and I'd been praying about it for probably a good month before I made that final decision to walk away. And I felt like the day before I retired, I'd hit a home run off John Papelbon. And if I can't get excited about that, then why am I here?
Right.
Like, I'm just going through the motions and I'm still performing really well. It was probably the best spring training that I had in terms of offense numbers. And I knew I'd probably be starting out in Pawtucket that year in AAA. But I also knew I was behind Manny Ramirez, J.D. Drew, Coco Crisp. Then you had Murphy, me, Jacoby Ellsbury. There was just a lot of outfielders. And I didn't feel like I was going to have an opportunity to get there. And once you get in the pro ball, you're playing to get to the big leagues. Not you're playing because you love the game, but you're also playing for a career, you know. And having a family, it just changed my mindset, I guess. And I wasn't having fun. That's the reason why I ended up leaving.
Sure. Well, tell everybody where you are. You're in Allen, I think, Allen, Texas, and what you're doing now.
I'm in Allen, Texas. After baseball, I got into banking and I hated it. I then applying for the police department. I worked for Grand Prairie Police Department for 12 years. I ended up leaving them in 2019, and I got into roofing. That's pretty much what I'm doing now. I work for Swords and Roofing, and I also have my own side business doing home renovations and repair work, things like that. That's what I do now.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, the banquet, the induction banquet, comes up on November 14th, and we're looking forward to having you here and again celebrate your Hall of Fame career. And congratulations to you again. And it'd be fun to see you and have the induction banquet coming up next month.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to be there. Can't wait to
All
see
right.
you again, John.
Appreciate that. Chris Durbin, Baylor baseball, headed into the Baylor Athletics Hall of Fame.